one podcast where nothing is off the table. Before the touchdown, before the home run, before the ball goes through the basket, Steve Samra, Pablo Hernandez, Andrew Morgan, Dan DeLucia. It's time for a brand new episode of the Before the Score podcast. Let's go.
Before the Score!
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Before the Score, episode number 41. Pablo Hernandez, you're back from Vegas. Tell me, was the Sin City good to you?
Well, let me start off by saying here, we run a sports podcast, and it's our job to talk about sports, and I understand you guys are much more advanced in the football world than I am, but let me tell you guys something. I probably know about as little as football as maybe the stupidest guy in the room. Maybe, I'm not the brightest at knowing about football and the knowledge in football, but man, just the thoughts and the opinions about the games that I should be throwing money on was just horrible, man. I mean, come on, bro. I don't know if it's just bad luck. I mean, the Pablo curse, it follows me everywhere, but I throw money on Green Bay. What happens? They're winning. They're the underdog. I'm doing good. They're up by 2 touchdowns. What happens? The third quarter hits. They don't have the ball once. And if they do, it's for less than 2 minutes. They were just completely terrible. They folded, they flopped, which I thought personally was a very entertaining game. They did come back with seconds left in the fourth quarter, and I thought that they were going to win in overtime. What happens? Interception, they lose. There goes my betting money. How about the day before that? I put money on the over for which game was that? Do you remember?
Oh, it was Louisville-Syracuse, and that was not the type of game you want to put money on the over for, but you did it. You did it anyway.
That was one of the worst games I've ever seen. It was just so boring. Nothing happened. I mean, I don't know, bro. Sometimes you just got to go with your gut and just look. I thought about putting money on the Cowboys, bro. I'm telling you, I knew the Cowboys were going to win. I absolutely knew it. No, man, don't put money on the Cowboys. Okay, bro. Just next time, I know to go with my gut.
Yeah, because the Pablo Power, your gut has never steered you the wrong way before. You've always been so good at picking games with just your gut. So today we're gonna hold you to that. We're gonna see how you do with your NFL picks today, and we'll see if your gut really is something to go off of, really something to make money off of, or if you're just really the mush that we really do think you are. Let's start off by talking about other stuff that happened this week besides Pablo's coronavirus vacation. Let's talk about Tom Brady and his performance yesterday against the LA Rams. Because Tom Brady was coming off a pretty good game against the Panthers, and he looked bad yesterday against the team he beat in the Super Bowl twice. So, Dan, tell me, is Tom Brady, Max Kellerman loves to talk about the proverbial cliff he's going to fall off of. Is he right at the edge of that cliff? Is he done?
No, he's not done, and I think he still has a couple more years in this league. I just got to give a lot of credit to the Rams defense. They played extraordinary. Defense travels, and you saw, coming off a big win last week, going all the way to Tampa Bay across the country and making Tom Brady look like he is an aging quarterback. Now, that's just not the case. We saw this in, before in the season when Tom Brady had a really bad game, and then he strung a bunch of great games together. It looks like, hey, everyone's talking about just last week, we were talking about Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, all together. This is the highest power offense. How are you going to stop it? The very next week, the Rams, one of the quietest teams this year, you have to say. I mean, no one's really talking about the Rams and giving them the credit that they deserve. And when they came into Tampa Bay, it looked like Tom Brady was, like I said, an aging quarterback, but he's not. Let's pump the brakes on this. The Rams have a very good defense. They could possibly win this division because, to be honest, they're a better team than Seattle, as they proved a couple weeks ago. Arizona, I mean, we don't really know. They're up and down lately. And then the 49ers are, I guess, the bottom of that division just because of all the injuries they've had. But I got to say, the Rams, like you said last week, the sneaky Super Bowl pick, the Rams are a dominant force right now in the NFC.
Number one, I don't think his time is done, but I do think that his time is fading. I mean, you just have to be realistic here. This guy's in his 40s. He's not going to be around forever, and I personally don't see him having too much time left. This guy obviously has had a legendary career. Might go down as a top 3 quarterback of all time, but I do think that his time is nearing its end. And look, I still think they have a shot to win the Super Bowl this year. I still think that they're a very good team, but I do think that every year he's going to start getting worse and worse and worse. And I think we're starting to see the continuation of his decline, because you saw that last year with the Patriots. He wasn't that same Tom Brady that we had seen in even the year before that. So I do think that he's starting to go on the decline.
Andrew was actually the only one of us to pick the Buccaneers, so I guess that's why he couldn't show his face here today. But Tom Brady, man, my thing about Tom Brady is he's played pretty decent this season. He's actually been in the top half of the quarterbacks this year. He's been in some MVP discussions, although I don't think he's going to be that high up. But the only games he's really played bad in this year, the losses he's played bad in, those 2 Saints games where he's played terrible, the Bears game, which they just got the best of him with that defense, and Nick Foles, of course, the ghost of Nick Foles passed. And then last night against the Rams, those are 4 good teams. I know the Bears were in there, but their defense is good. The Buccaneers are going to have to learn to beat these good teams, because the Giants, even, that's a team they might be facing in round 1 of the playoffs of all teams. The Giants gave them all they could handle. So Tom Brady, I'm sure he doesn't want to see them again in the playoffs. He's going to have to play better against good teams, because he's been beaten up on some bad teams. The one good win they really have this year is against the Packers. They need to beat some better teams if they think that they're going to go anywhere this season. Dan, let's talk about your Vikings a bit here, because Pablo said he was going to pick the Cowboys. And I said, Pablo, there is no way the Cowboys are beating the Vikings. Dalvin Cook's going to run all over them. Kirk Cousins is playing well. And then the Vikings lost at home to Andy Dalton. So what the hell happened?
Yeah, let me make a quick point here. Pablo picked the Vikings on the show last week. It is on the Instagram. You can check it right now. It says purple. So I don't want to give him all the credit in the world for saying how genius he is of picking the Cowboys, because he didn't pick the Cowboys. Just wanted to throw that one out, throw him under the bus real quick. Now, about the Vikings, on a way more depressing front, they're just not a good football team. It comes down to coaching. The defense is very young. As you saw, Andy Dalton, they didn't have a stop for him. And if you can't stop Andy Dalton at your own home stadium, I don't know what to tell you. Where are you going to go? How do you have confidence to go in and try to string a bunch of games together and make a little run? This was supposed to be an easy game for you, because you have the Jaguars next week, who should be a very easy team to beat. Get back to 500 and make a run. Now that's all out the window. You're so far behind in this tough loaded NFC division that, I mean, all right, let me go to the offensive side of the ball, because Dalvin Cook has been the saving grace of this football team this entire year. Without Dalvin Cook, I don't think this team's winning more than 3 games. Let's be very clear about that. Now you have Adam Thielen going down on COVID. That's going to be a 2-week thing probably, because he just got it. This is time for Justin Jefferson to show off and show he's a Rookie of the Year candidate, offensive Rookie of the Year candidate, which he definitely is. He's got to be in that discussion, no doubt about it. But the defense for the rest of the season just has to make strides forward, because the playoff hopes they're gone. This is going to be a mid-draft picking team, the Minnesota Vikings. At this point, it has to be get momentum going into the offseason, because it's just a weird season. It does come down to coaching, like I started with this point. Mike Zimmer, Rick Spielman's really going to have to look at the Mike Zimmer complex, because it's been going on for so long. If Mike Zimmer is the coach to pull you and get you to a Super Bowl, if Kirk Cousins is the quarterback to get you to a Super Bowl. My last point with this, what my prediction for the Minnesota Vikings is Kirk Cousins going to have one more year to prove himself. After that, he's going to get cut. He's done. I don't think he's going to prove himself. I think he's going to get cut. You're going to have so much money, so much free money that you could actually sign some good players to. I mean, the Vikings have a great roster, but there are a few players away from becoming a great team. If you're able to cut Kirk Cousins, get a Sam Darnold maybe, or even draft the quarterback. There's so many quarterbacks in this draft that the Minnesota Vikings could be targeting as a successor. The options are endless. Rick Spielman's a great GM. He knows how to draft. It's just, like I said, the Mike Zimmer complex. Will he be the coach next year? I'll be very interested to see with that.
Yeah, with the Vikings, I just really don't understand what the hell happened this weekend because they were so hot. They beat all the teams, the NFC North. They had an easy game with the Cowboys, an easy game with the Jaguars. I really thought, man, this Vikings team dead in the water a couple of weeks ago. It's going to the playoffs. They were going to be that 7 seed in the NFC. And all of a sudden, just the Cowboys come into town and they just took them to town, really. Without Adam Thielen, I don't even know what the Vikings would have done because they couldn't get anything going on offense. Adam Thielen killed me in fantasy. I've never, ever, I love Adam Thielen. I think he's a great player, but I've never had him once in any fantasy football league. And if you know me, you know how many leagues I do. That is insane. He's just one of those players that has never gotten to my team, and he kills me every single time I play him. So Adam Thielen, you're on my draft list next year. Next year, I'll make it right.
Well, you look at the where Adam Thielen usually falls in drafts. It's that third round, late third round. It's like, do I really want to take Adam Thielen here? We don't know with Kirk Cousins. We don't know if Adam Thielen is that superstar wide receiver that some people say he is, like I do. But I mean, Adam Thielen is a bad man. I'm telling you, that draft stock where he's in the bottom of the third, this guy should be a mid-second rounder. The amount of fantasy points he's putting up this year, I think he has 10 touchdowns, 11 touchdowns on the season.
Every single year. Every single year, the guy goes off.
Yeah, and it doesn't make any sense. I mean, you look at him, just look at him. He's a walk-on from Minnesota Tucky State, whatever the hell university he went to. He's a nobody, and he comes into the NFL, and he's been taking us by storm, and I'm happy to have him on my team, but like you said, he's got to be on everyone's draft board next year.
Speaking of fantasy football, there was some drama this week with the New Orleans Saints. Their tight end quarterback combination, Taysom Hill starting at quarterback, but having tight end eligibility. Taysom Hill, he played well. One of our questions this week is about Taysom Hill, and he wants to know, it's from Jake Mason. What are our thoughts on Taysom Hill getting the start over Jameis Winston, and how did Taysom Hill play this weekend?
So Sean Payton has said, I forget who quoted this, but it was at the beginning of the season. And they were talking about, obviously Drew Brees was starting for him. And he said, whoever asked the question to Sean Payton asked, if Drew Brees were to go down, who would be your quarterback? And he said, mid-game, I'd go with Jameis, which he did last week. But he said, if I had a full week to prepare, I'd go with Taysom Hill. And that's what we saw this week. Sean Payton is the most high I've ever seen on anyone on Taysom Hill. I don't think anyone's nearly as high on Taysom Hill as Sean Payton is. So I wasn't really surprised that he got to start because this has been Sean Payton's guy. I mean, you look how he played. There was some questionable throws. I mean, that one downhill shot that he actually, I forget who caught the ball, that they had to run back like 5 yards.
Yeah, I believe it was Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah, it was Emmanuel Sanders. Yeah, like that throw, it looked like he gave it his all, and he was 5 yards short on the throw. I don't think Taysom Hill is the answer here. I mean, this is only a 4-week thing. I don't think Drew Brees is the answer. This is probably Drew Brees' last year. And roughly, I mean, if Jameis Winston can't even get in that discussion as starting quarterback, then how is he the answer? So the New Orleans Saints have a lot of questions on the quarterback decision because Taysom Hill, in my opinion, cannot be that guy after watching last week's game.
Well, I mean, it just goes to show you how much Winston fell off. I mean, even look at a few years ago, this guy was a young up-and-coming quarterback. And now, man, this guy, he can't even get a start over a scrub in Taysom Hill. Honestly, man, I don't know. At what point do you have to look? At what point does he look at himself and say, you know what, man, maybe this isn't for me. You know, I can't even start a game where the quarterback isn't starting. You know, I think, to me personally, I'm the best backup on this team. I'm the best number 2 on this team, and they're not even putting him in. And then to top it all off, they don't put him in. They put in Hill, and he has a good game, and they win. So, I mean, it just goes to show you how much Winston has fell off. And, you know, we give him all these nicknames, Squinton Winston, you know, what's the other one? What's that one?
Famous Jameis.
Famous Jameis.
Crab legs Jameis.
I think he's going to be jobless Jameis by the beginning of next year, man.
Oh, man. That you cut deep on that one. I'll tell you what, I'm going to cut Jameis some slack because I think, the only person who believes in Taysom Hill I think you can win with Taysom Hill as your quarterback. I think he's not Cam Newton. He's never going to be Cam Newton, but he's similar to a Cam Newton, Colin Kaepernick hybrid type thing. He doesn't throw the ball as well as Kaepernick did, but he's not that terrible of a thrower. You saw it this week. He threw for over 250 yards. He completed over like 70% of his passes, and he still ran the ball for over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. You can win with that in the National Football League. You can win with a gadget type player who can play literally any position. It's like if you went back to high school and you took the most athletic kid and you put him at quarterback, because that's what every high school ever did to win state championships. I know ours did. So if you put the most athletic kid at quarterback, sometimes it just works. And I think Taysom Hill, he may be the most athletic guy on the Saints, and it looks like might be an answer post Drew Brees for the Saints.
I agree you can win some football games, but your defense needs to show up, and the Saints defense has been showing up this year. They've been one of the best defenses in the NFL in terms of takeaways and sacks. They've been a problem on all fronts. With Taysom Hill, you have to go and think, yeah, this is going to work for a few games. You have Drew Brees coming back, which is great. But is this a long-term answer? You don't think defenses are going to realize what Taysom Hill is? I mean, we have questions over Lamar Jackson, who just won an MVP. I'm not comparing Taysom Hill and Lamar Jackson together, but everyone said Lamar Jackson's this great quarterback, and now there's question marks about him because we feel like defenses are figuring him out. I feel like the same thing goes with Taysom Hill. At a certain point, there's going to be a recipe to stop him, and for Sean Payton, he's got to realize that.
Sean Payton's trying to catch lightning in a bottle, though. If he can ride this all the way to a possible Super Bowl, then he'll take it for a year because you know that everything has a shelf life in the NFL. So if they can just confuse defenses and confuse opposing teams for enough games, he could get his second Super Bowl championship. We'll see what happens with that. Let's pick some of these games, though. Let's get to these Thanksgiving games. NFL Week 12, Thanksgiving Day. These are some ugly football games to start out during the day. First one of the day. Everybody loves to watch the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving. I know I certainly don't. It is the Houston Texans at the Detroit Lions, which is actually the second time in my lifetime that I am watching the Texans play the Lions on Thanksgiving. That seems like such a random game. Why do we keep getting Texans Lions? I remember 8 years ago, Matt Schaub and the Texans beating the Lions on Thursday on Thanksgiving. Why again? Why not somebody else? But the Texans are 3-point favorites. Pablo, start us off.
Absolutely. The Texans, I absolutely see them winning this game. Look, the Lions, they lost to a Panthers team that I was absolutely looking at as well. I couldn't believe that they won, but it's just my luck. But, the Lions, personally, I think they're a very mediocre team, and they're going to lose this week.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure overall the Lions are 37-41 on Thanksgiving. They are just an abysmal franchise, as we all know. This year is weird because the Texans are a 3-7 football team, but you look at last week in Deshaun Watson's performance, and he was lights out, and things were actually looking like they were clicking. And you go to Detroit, which Detroit, we all know their problems that they've had this year. For 3 points, I feel like I have to take the Texans here. I think they're a better football team, although they might not have the coaching right now. We don't really know what's going to happen after the end of the season with Romeo, but I like the Texans here. I feel like 3 points is too easy to take.
Very impressive how Dan knows the Lions record for Thanksgiving off the top of his head like that. I'm not expecting to know that. But give me the Texans here. The Lions, Matt Patricia, you're lucky that Adam Gase is in the NFL, because if not, everybody would know how bad of a coach you are. He is not a good coach. And this may be his last game as the Detroit Lions head coach, because losing 20-0 to the Panthers, who are starting their third string quarterback from the XFL, who from Temple, 5'10". I love you, PJ Walker. I really want to see you succeed, but all signs point to you not succeeding in the NFL. You just went up 20-0, gifting the Lions 2 horrible interceptions in the end zone, and you still shut them out. So, Matt Patricia, you're a sorry head coach, and you're going to lose on Thanksgiving again, because the Lions, they're just not a good team. 2 teams that I really love to hate, and I will be hate watching this game because it has huge implications on my Giants. We have the Washington football team playing on Thanksgiving for the first time ever against the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys are 3-point favorites at home in Jerry World. Who wins?
So why wouldn't, let me put it like this. Why wouldn't you choose the Cowboys to win this game? You know, you see them beat the Vikings, who have been a pretty good team lately. I mean, they're only 3-point favorites of being at home against an abysmal Washington football team this entire year. And the Cowboys offense has looked great. I mean, well, last week, I should say, looked great. They were firing on all cylinders. But like you said, this is really the football team's first Thanksgiving game.
It's the Washington football team.
The Washington football team. I was about to say, there's no way about that. All right. Well, I think the Washington football team will go 1-0 on Thanksgiving. I'm going to pick the upset here against the Cowboys. I think it's too good to be true. All these Cowboy fans that have given me grief, mostly J-Dog, but and I just hate the Cowboys fan base. They need to go down a peg here. Please tell me the football team takes this win.
Yes, absolutely. Look, man, I'm gonna ride this Cowboys wave. Man, that division is just so bad. It's so awful. It's so terrible. You're gonna see one of these teams is gonna just crawl into the playoffs. It's not fair. It just goes to show you the flaws in the NFL ranking system. A team that finishes under 500 should never, ever, ever be considered a playoff team. But you know, in football, I understand that there aren't that many games and one team has to make it from that division. So, you know what? One of these mediocre teams is going to make it, and that's going to be the Cowboys.
Unfortunately, I see the Cowboys are peaking at the right time. I think that Andy Dalton, at quarterback, can actually help them win games as opposed to a guy like Ben DiNucci. The game that really scared me for the Cowboys was that Steelers game. I think they looked really good that game. They should have beat the Steelers if Garrett Gilbert did not throw one of the worst interceptions I've ever seen.
God, yeah.
But they beat the Vikings, which I did not expect. Impressive win. Their defense actually looks like they can stop somebody now. I don't know what happened, but their defense doesn't look as bad. And it's just not good for me to see. I was pissed the Vikings lost because I think the Cowboys pose the biggest threat to the Giants to win that division. I do think they beat the Washington football team this week, who may be one of the worst teams in the league. All their wins have come against just bad teams. Giants have taken care of business against them, and I just have no confidence in that team winning. So give me the Cowboys to win on Thanksgiving. And the night game, the one that's in question, we'll see if this ends up happening, but we got to pick it anyway. We got the Baltimore Ravens at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers are 5.5-point favorites here.
Yeah, and should this game even be played, we see what's happening with the Ravens organization and all their positive COVID tests. And for me, the fact that if this game were to play and that line is still at 5.5, my God, I mean, you have to take the Steelers here at 5.5. This is, they think, the easiest line if this game were to happen. The Ravens are so depleted right now. They don't have their top two running backs. They're missing a bunch of other people. And what has gone right for the Ravens? I mean, Lamar Jackson does not look good, especially against the Steelers when he plays them. He does not look good. These last few weeks have been very rough for their franchise. This is a lock, a Danny D lock of the week if the Steelers were to play. Give me that -5.5 all day long.
Absolutely, man. Let me tell you something about Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Number one, they folded again. They folded again on Sunday. They should have won. There's no reason why the game should have went to overtime. Number one. Number two, there's no reason why they should have lost the game. There's no reason why the game should have even been close. Lamar Jackson, coming off his MVP season, has looked absolutely underwhelming and absolutely just not good. This guy, he needs to get his act straight. And against a undefeated Steelers team, they have no chance. No chance. And I'm going to hop on the bandwagon with Dan. I'm going to say this is more than a lock. It's a guarantee. It's a spoiler. The Baltimore Ravens will not win this Thursday.
Of all the 10-0 teams that I've seen in my life, this has to be the most unimpressive 10-0 team. And the really weird part is, if you look at the rest of their schedule, they have a really good shot of going 16-0. I've never seen anything like it. They play the Bills, they play the Colts, but I don't know if I believe in all those two teams. The Browns, but they also play the Bengals, the Washington football team. This team has a decent shot of going 16-0. And I think it starts this week. I think they do take care of business against the Ravens, especially with Gus Edwards being the bell cow back for the Ravens. I just don't know where the loss comes for the Steelers. And that's just so weird for me to say, because I don't think that they're that great. I look at them and I don't go, hey, nobody can beat them. But I really do. I'm not like a huge believer in this team, but I guess I got to pick them to go 11-0. So just weird. Just a weird year for that team.
Let me ask a question here. So I did see the lines, and they do have odds for the Jets going winless this season. And I will tell you the odds right now. Just let me pull it up real quick. So 1 second, I'm pulling it up. Okay. So the Jets are plus 280 odds to go winless this season. What's more likely to happen? The Jets go winless, or the Steelers don't lose a game the entire NFL season? What's more likely to happen?
Give me the Jets to go winless. This team does not play a beatable team the rest of the year. This might be the worst NFL team in the history of the NFL. It's definitely, if they go 0-16, it'll be the worst NFL team I've ever seen in my lifetime. They're worse than the Lions team was. They are worse than the Browns team was. I just don't see a glimmer of hope on this team at all.
I don't know if they're worse than the Browns team, but I think it's very likely that the Jets go 0-16. I mean, to put it into perspective, they're home against the Dolphins next week and they're 7-point underdogs. Then they're home against the Raiders and they're 8-point underdogs. There's no chance they're beating either of those teams. You have the Seahawks away, the Rams away, the Browns at home, and the Patriots away. Name one winnable game there? I just cannot see a winnable game from all those, especially if those teams aren't playing their best, because the Jets have been extremely poor. Yes, one of the worst teams we've ever seen. I mean, comparing it to the Browns team, I don't know if they're worse than the Browns, but I mean, if they go 0-16, there's definitely that argument.
Just a team that doesn't know how to play football. I just don't understand it. Pablo, what are your thoughts?
Man, that Jets team is just so, I don't know, man. That team sucks. And you know, being in the New York, New Jersey area, you always hear about the teams. And I'm dying to have a one competitive sports team besides the Giants and the Yankees. New York is a place full of losers everywhere. I mean, they just don't win. They just don't win. And as of late, it's really only been the Giants. I mean, no other sport. The Yankees. I can't even say that the Yankees. Unless you win a World Series, unless you win a title, you're not a winning team. And so far in this town, it's just been the Giants and nothing else. And I'm tired of it. I want some more competitive sports in this area. LA and Boston, they're laughing at us right now.
Well, in terms of championships, I guess the Giants are the most recent, but in terms of wins, I mean, obviously the Yankees have been the best New York team in the past 10 years by no stretch of the imagination. I mean, they have easily been the best. And the Rangers have been competitive. I mean, they've made the Cup playoffs or the Cup championship in 2013-14 season, I think that was.
Yeah, 2014. The Mets made the World Series in 2015.
That's what, 2015. But I mean, the Mets have not been a good team this decade. That was 2 good years that they had. But overall, you look at the future, and we're not going to get into this whole Mets debate, but I think the Mets and Yankees can be the best 2 teams in New York.
Baseball leading the charge for New York. That's what I like to see. Let's go to the New York team themselves. The New York Giants travel to take on Ryan Finley and the Cincinnati Bengals. 5.5-point road favorites the New York Giants are. Man, I don't know the last time I've seen that. Who you got this week?
I'll start it off here. And you know what? For the Bengals, they had just a horrific loss to their quarterback, Joe Burrow here. It's unfortunate, and to me, that just spells a glimmer of hope for the New York Giants this week. I do see them winning. If I were to have my own lock of the week, I'd probably go with the Giants here. I'm going to tell you what, this team, they're not a very good football team, but they're going against a quarterback who many might say he's not cut up for the challenge. He's not cut up for the test. And it doesn't matter if he's going against the Giants. It doesn't matter what team he's going against. I just think the New York Giants, they're going to ride that sort of momentum they have had. They haven't looked that terrible over these last few weeks, and I think they're going to beat the Bengals.
I hate to completely agree with Pablo, but I have to. I mean, you have Ryan Finley at quarterback, I'm pretty sure, and this Giants defense has been pretty damn good this year. I mean, I'm pretty sure Xavier McKinney's coming back. They're gonna be playing pretty well, and for 5.5 points, man, this is close to a lock for me to take the Giants. I mean, they're 7-3 against the spread this year. They're 3-17. That's 7-3 against the spread. I think they could hit this spread and get a win here. It'd be a huge win in terms of their division hopes. The Bengals are a hopeless team after Joe Burrow. Without Joe Burrow this season, I can't imagine. I mean, I get they're 2-7-1, but I mean, with Joe Burrow, this team is one of the worst teams in football as well, competing with the Jets. This is going to be an easy game for the Giants, and they got to look good because they got to impress this division and say, hey, this is ours for the taking.
Yeah, this is the first time I'm going to do this. I'm going to predict a New York Giants blowout. I think it's going to be a big game for Daniel Jones, the offense, the defense. I think it's going to be a fun Sunday for Giants fans, something we have not felt in a long time. Get the 3 straight wins and get right in the thick of things in that division. So I think it's going to be a good Sunday for the Giants. I think they're going to win this week. I think it's going to be a big win. I think the defense, offense, everybody takes care of business, and Joe Judge gets those Giants right next to first place, right there. So I'm excited. Next game we can pick here. We'll skip over the Jets because we're all gonna pick the Dolphins. Let's go to what's a good game here. Let's go to Tennessee at Indianapolis. Titans Colts division game. 2 7-3 teams. The Colts are 3.5 point home favorites. Who you got in this one?
Well, last week I said that Titans Ravens game was really a make or break for their seasons, and the Titans weren't able to pull it out. They're 7-3, obviously competing against the Colts 7-3 for that division right now, and the Ravens are on the downward spiral. Tennessee has a good shot here. I think the Colts really, they underperformed that first half, and then they clawed back into that game and eventually won. I think this is it was too good to be true last week. They shouldn't have won, and they did win. Now they're going to get put back down to earth with a Tennessee Titans win. I know Osei Bonsu has been giving us a lot of grief on the Indianapolis Colts, and I don't blame them. I mean, they have been impressive these last few weeks, and they've been playing very good football with a great chance of winning that division. However, I'm going to pick the Tennessee Titans.
I'll go off by saying number one, the Colts. I hate this. I hate this organization as of right now. They just cause so much heartbreak to me. But I am gonna absolutely pick the Colts here. Look, the Colts, they have a very impressive defense. They beat one of the most lethal offenses in the Green Bay Packers. They were able to stop them, especially in that third quarter. That team was just, I mean, there wasn't a lot of defense going on. Obviously, it was all offense, but this is a team that's very impressive. This is a team led by a very smart and a very knowledgeable veteran quarterback in Rivers. I do see them winning here. And you know what? The Titans, they do not impress me. They beat a mediocre team, in my opinion, the Baltimore Ravens, who haven't really been doing much on the back of Lamar Jackson. I've already said it. Lamar Jackson's been having a terrible year. So to me, they're going to face a real test going against the Indianapolis Colts, and the Colts are going to come out on top.
Osei Bonsu, you love to tell us to pick against you. I'm not going to do it today. I'm going to go with you. You convinced me. All your harking at me has got me to pick the Colts. So congratulations. I'm going with the Indianapolis Colts. Dan, are the Vikings going to beat the Panthers this week? 4-point favorites. Your Vikings are. Do they get the dub?
If Christian McCaffrey plays, no, they wouldn't get the dub. We saw Teddy Bridgewater not be able to play. PJ Walker step in last week. I'm pretty sure Teddy Two Gloves is going to come back and probably try to haunt the Minnesota Vikings. But I think the Vikings are going to squeak it out here. It's going to be a close game. I know it's a 4-point spread. I don't know about the spread, but I'll take the Vikings money line here. I feel like they're just going to miss the playoffs, go 7-9, 8-8, and get a terrible pick. Well, not a great pick, and it's just another miserable season for me.
Well, Dan, don't be so upset here because I do see the Vikings winning. I really don't see PJ Walker putting up another performance like he did just a few days ago. Look, this kid, he did all right. He got his nice little win against the Lions, but I do think that the Vikings are a much better team. And the Vikings, I know they had the nice little winning streak and it was snapped. I do see them starting, maybe not another winning streak, but I do see them starting a run of better football games to come.
Yeah, Dan, give me the Vikings in this game, even if McCaffrey plays. I think Dalvin Cook would outplay him. PJ Walker, I don't know if he'll get the start, but even if Teddy Bridgewater is in there to try to get his revenge, give me the Vikings to get the win this week. Kirk Cousins and the Vikings come out on top against the Panthers. Next game here, we got probably the best game on the schedule. Going to be a fun one. We got Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs going to Tampa Bay, possible Super Bowl matchup to face Tom Brady's Buccaneers. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are 3.5-point favorites. Who's winning this one?
Well, after last week, it's, hard to watch that game, especially with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and feel confident here picking the Buccaneers. But I mean, the Chiefs, they're a 9-1 football team. They squeaked out a game against the Raiders. Granted that the Raiders are a very tough team. Here, you got to travel on the other side of the country and go, or are they home? Sorry. Oh, no, they're away. Yeah, so they got to travel on the other side of the country and go to Tampa Bay. I really think Tom Brady here has to make a point and prove a point that, hey, I'm still a good quarterback in this league. This is still a good football team, and we're trying to win a division and go on and get a good seed here in this playoff race. So I'm going to take the upset here and take the Buccaneers over the Chiefs. I still think the Chiefs are a very good football team. They had a hard-fought win last week. This is going to be a hard-fought win for them again, but I don't think they're going to come out on the winning side.
Well, you're going to have the past and you're going to have the present with Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. And I've said this on the show many times. I don't think I've ever picked against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, and I don't see that changing. Patrick Mahomes, he's the greatest quarterback of today. He's the face of the National Football League. This guy has it all, and he will continue his success. And you know what? For the Buccaneers, man, I'm not saying they're a bad team. Obviously, that team is very talented, and I do think they are going to make a long run into the playoffs. But I don't know, man. There's just something about it, man. They just don't fly off the page to me. And the Chiefs, to me, they're a very special team.
Sometimes in the NFL, you have to throw away the rule book and just pick with your gut, like Pablo says. So I'm going to go with my gut to this game. And I really do think Tom Brady pulls it out. He gets the victory over Patrick Mahomes. The Buccaneers beat the Chiefs in a shocking game, which could be one of the past potential be the best game of the entire season. Remember that. So I really do think this will be a fun game to watch. Give me Tom Brady. Give me the veteran. I think that he gets the win in this game. Doesn't let his team stay down for too long. And then, of course, the primetime games. I think we're all picking the same team, so we don't have to pick those. So we'll move. Anybody else? Anybody picking the Bears? Everybody going with the Packers? I think so,
Yeah,
right?
I don't really love that spread, but I'll take the Packers.
And I don't think anybody's going to pick the Eagles against the Seahawks, right?
And I love that spread for the Seahawks.
So we move on from the primetime games. Let's move on to the Thanksgiving special. Before the Score, it's time for the Thanksgiving draft here on Before the Score.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll go 3 rounds, mock draft, Thanksgiving, snake draft of just your favorite Thanksgiving foods. And we'll see who has the best 3 at the end of this. Dan, I know that's your favorite meal. So we'll let you pick. You want the first pick here?
I'll take the first pick just so I could get the first item.
All right, so we'll go Dan, Pablo, me, and then we'll go snake draft, of course. Pablo, 1 pick per selection, not like you did for the Halloween one, picking 2 guys first overall. So, Dan, start off the Thanksgiving draft here.
For me, this is the easiest pick of my lifetime, and I hope a lot of people agree with me to take this item of food at the number 1 pick.
Don't say it.
Because it is the best item of food when it comes, if you make it correctly, and that is stuffing. I know a lot of people sleep on the stuffing. However, it is the perfect filler. It is the perfect side dish to your turkey and gravy. The Thanksgiving stuffing, if done correctly, is easily, hands down, the number 1 pick of this draft.
Well, I'll give it to you. It was not going to be my number 1 overall pick. I definitely think you took stuffing way too high in this draft, but it's whatever though. I'm going to go with pernil. That is it's a pork. I love it. I really don't know how to say it without the accent. Pernil. I don't know how you guys say it, but
you guys, you people.
Yeah, I tell you what, man. That to me, it's better than the turkey. What is a Spanish Thanksgiving without its pernil?
Wow, Steve, you really got gifted there.
I'll tell you what, there is no Thanksgiving without turkey. You got to pick the turkey in the first round. It is Thanksgiving. That is where it originated from. So I'm taking the turkey with my first pick of the first round. And since it's a snake draft, I get another pick here since I had the last pick. And I'm going to go with my favorite Thanksgiving side dish, sweet potatoes. I
Oh,
love sweet potatoes.
oh God.
Come on, man. If you get a little bit of marshmallows on those sweet potatoes too, there ain't nothing better than sweet potatoes. So I'm taking turkey and sweet potatoes to start off my draft. And Pablo, it's back to you.
Whoa, interesting. I'm probably gonna have to go with some Spanish rice and beans here. Like the yellow rice and the arroz con gandules. Man, I love it, man. It's amazing.
All right. Well, I know my first pick. I'm just debating what deserves to be my third pick or second pick. I know, but the third pick I am debating. I will talk about my second pick, and that being mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes, you know what you're getting with them every year. You know that they are reliable. It's just an easy pick to take, a great side dish that will pair well with my stuffing. The third pick is relatively hard here. I mean, there's a lot of good options that you could take here. Um, I'm between two right now. Tough pick. I gotta say. You know, Oh man, I might get a lot of grief for this one, but it is an interesting pick. Not many people will expect it, but if you have a great dinner roll with your Thanksgiving meal, I will take a great dinner roll, a great piece of bread that goes along with all this to scoop it up in the gravy and shove that down your gullet. I will have my three picks being stuffing, mashed potatoes, and the roll.
Now, why are all your picks side dishes? Do you not eat any main options, or did we just pick them up?
He took the Thanksgiving turkey. That's your main. I mean, that is the main
Yeah,
dish.
he's
And
not
you have
gonna
all the
pick.
sides.
He's not gonna pick no chicken or something.
Yeah, come on, it's Thanksgiving, man.
I'll tell you what, guys, and this is something where you guys didn't pick, and I'm going to throw it out there because I think Steve is actually thinking about it. I'm going to go with the Thanksgiving ham. I love ham, man. There's just something about the nice ham with like a nice slice of pineapple, and you just squeeze the juices on top of it. Man, to me, ham is better than turkey. That's just my opinion.
So apparently, Pablo, apparently you eat everything aside from turkey on Thanksgiving.
Honestly, turkey's just a little bit dry to me. I don't know. I don't like turkey's all right, but you need some type of juices with it. It's very dry to me.
Yeah,
Well,
drown it in gravy, man.
you know what you need on Thanksgiving? You need that sweet
Yep.
side dish. So
Yep.
I'm gonna go with something that's not dry, something that is pretty saucy. Give me the cranberry sauce
Yeah, you're going
on the
with it.
side there. So that would be my three picks. Give me turkey, sweet potatoes, cranberry sauce, and I think we got to pick a dessert. I think we got to
Yeah.
go with a pie. So I'll start off with the pie since it'll be going
Ugh.
back that way anyway. My favorite pie, I love the blueberry pie. That's my pick there. I'm not a big pumpkin guy. I'm not a big pecan pie guy. I like blueberries. I've always liked blueberry. Give me blueberry Pop Tarts, blueberry pie. That's my pick for the desserts.
My favorite pie, and it's not something that I normally have every Thanksgiving, but I'm going to throw it out there because I might pick it up. I mean, I'm working this Thanksgiving, but I might just pick up the pie to have it when I come home from Thanksgiving. I'm thinking about a lemon pie. Oh man, there's just something about a nice lemon pie, especially with some whipped cream filling, bro. If you find the right person to make it, there's no better pie in the entire world.
See, I'm not a big pie guy. I try to go with different options at dessert. However, with a pumpkin pie on the table, I have to grab it just so I won't get barked at for my last three picks. I don't know how people will take that as reception, so I have to slot in the pumpkin pie as my dessert there.
I would have loved to go mac and cheese in my third pick.
Yeah.
I know some people don't have that on Thanksgiving. I know last year on Thanksgiving, I saw all these pictures, these plates on Twitter, and I was looking at the mac and cheese, and I was craving mac and cheese so badly. Get to my Thanksgiving meal, making my plate, no mac and cheese to be found. I've never been so
Well,
disappointed in my life.
Well, Steve, I'll let you choose the mac and cheese if I can get one more pick, and I'll even give Dan one more pick here.
You want to go another round? Is that what you're telling me?
I'll go one more round.
All right. Well, that means now I'm not going. I might not pick the mac and cheese because that was my pick. All right, Dan, we'll go one more round. It's technically your pick. So
is it my pick?
5-round draft Thanksgiving foods.
Well, I was actually between my last pick picking a pie, but also I went with the dinner roll. Man, this is tough. I hate to keep going with sides here. I mean, like, am I a side guy? I think I think the green bean is underrated. If done correctly, like I say with a lot, the fresh garden green bean goes very well with this meal. A lot of people do not grab that first to put on their dish. And hey, I'm not a person to grab it first. I will always grab that stuffing first, but green beans will be on the plate.
Um, I'm gonna go, and you know what, man? I I love, and this is very underrated. It's something that's really grown on me. I love the macaroni salad, man. There's just something about a nice macaroni salad, bro. Oh man, I can't explain it. It's just so much flavor, and I don't know, man. It's amazing. To me, it's better than mac and cheese.
All right, well here I gotta go. The only other thing I might pick is the corn, maybe some salt and pepper, but I'm not picking that as my pick. So give me the mac and cheese. Like I said, you heard my whole spiel. Mac and cheese makes it to me to end the draft there for Thanksgiving. Of course, that'll be on our Instagram, our Twitter. You gotta let us know what your favorite picks are for your Thanksgiving meals. That was fun. That was a fun little draft we did there.
I was surprised by a lot of Pablo's picks just because I didn't know those were Thanksgiving meals. But hey, everyone has a different table, and I'm not knocking his Thanksgiving. I would like to have one Thanksgiving at his house and try to see what he's all about, you know?
Yeah, Pablo's got a meaty Thanksgiving. He's got turkey. He's got pernil. He's got ham.
Pernil,
He's got
pernil.
the rum ham from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia on the table. So he's got everything at that table. Let's go to our questions here to finish up this episode. First question comes from Aaron Bartlett. He simply says, not even a question, he says, Giants to the playoffs with the eye emoji. So can you see it? Can you see the Giants going to the playoffs?
Well, judging from what I just saw from the Philadelphia Eagles against the Cleveland Browns and Carson Wentz just looking like he's not a starting quarterback in this league. I don't know if it's on him, if it's on Doug Peterson, the play calling, if it's on that offensive line that has been horrific. The defense has not been playing well either. I can't imagine the Eagles are a contender at that spot. And coming off the win against the Vikings with the Cowboys, I just picked the Washington football team to beat the Cowboys. So I guess I have to say that they're going to be their best competitor, but I still think the Giants are a better team. So this is not far-fetched at all. The Giants have a very good shot at making the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, with most teams, actually with all the teams having 3 wins here, I think this is basically an open division. But the Giants, man, I do think that with their win this Sunday, they're going to have a very good shot to win this division.
I agree. I think the Giants are in the driver's seat in this division. They control their own destiny. Of course, you love hearing that in the NFL. Dan said he was judging. I believe in Joe Judge. Give me Joe Judge and the Giants. We're going to the postseason. Aaron Bartlett. Next question here comes from Aaron Swanton. Another, not really a question, kind of a statement. He says Randy Arozarena is a nutcase. So, of course, the news came out about Randy Arozarena. Pablo, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, number one, we don't know all the facts about this yet, and I'll tell you what, this happened in Mexico. So the laws that are in Mexico are a lot different than the laws that are over here in the United States. And personally, what we know about it so far is that he had an altercation with his father-in-law, I think it's his ex-girlfriend or his ex-wife's father. And he wanted to take his daughter from his ex-wife. And now not only do they have him on I think an assault charge for attacking his father-in-law, but they have him on some type of kidnapping charge for taking his daughter, which was not under his custody. So I do think that that a lot of this stuff and a lot more details have to come out into the open. But personally, he's innocent until proven guilty. And you know what, man? He might not have custody of his daughter, but at the end of the day, it's still his daughter. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to think that whatever he did was for a very good reason. And you know what? The MLB, they have their own guidelines and their procedure that they're going to follow that I don't always necessarily agree with. But whether he gets suspended, maybe for a little bit of time, if it happens, it happens. But this guy, I don't think he's a nutcase. I definitely would not like him to kill my team like he did, especially in the postseason. This guy was a one-man wrecking team, wrecking crew. But yeah, innocent to proven guilty. And until I find out that he actually did something malicious, I'm going to be on Team Randy.
Team Randy, Pablo says. Next question here comes from Bobby Krepik. He wants to know the possibility of a Los Angeles Lakers repeat.
Well, let's look at this offseason from the Los Angeles Lakers, and one could easily argue this is the best team LeBron James has ever been on. And their acquisitions, you just got the sixth man of the year from the Clippers and Montrezl Harrell, who's going to slot in nicely, either coming off the bench or putting in some good minutes. I mean, he averaged over 18 points a game last year off the bench with the Clippers, which is a great number that LeBron will be getting. You pair him with Marcus Saul. Marcus Saul, he had his ups and downs last year with the Toronto Raptors, but I think he's still got a lot in the tank, a lot of juice in the tank here. And you pair him up with LeBron James, he spaces the floor out nicely. He could shoot the three. He's a good acquisition. You make that trade with the Thunder, getting Dennis Schroeder, and he's a great 3-and-D player. Some could argue he could, slot in well with Rondo's absence, him leaving, or with Danny Green leaving the team as well. He's going to be a great player for them. Lakers made on all fronts of their team better. Now it's just inking Anthony Davis to that Supermax deal. And it's going to be very tough to knock off this team unless LeBron James takes a big step back, which I don't think so. I think he's going to load manage very well going into the playoffs. They're going to be a very tough team to beat.
With the Lakers here, I'm going to have to say the possibility is better than them winning the championship last year. I think this team improved this offseason, and I think a lot of teams have not really taken that step to get better than them. I think the Clippers actually got worse losing Harrell and having to re-sign Marcus Morris. And I really don't see any team that really stands out as a super contender to me right now in the NBA besides the Lakers, especially with the Bucks getting manhandled by the Heat last season. Only way is if the Heat maybe can get healthy enough. I know in the postseason they were just ravaged by injuries when they got to the finals. So the Lakers really caught a pass there, but I really don't see any team that maybe besides the Nets that can really give LeBron, AD, Markieff Morris, Harrell, Pau Gasol's brother, Marc Gasol, Dennis Schroeder. This team got better this offseason, and they won the championship last year. So that's tough to get. That's a tough team to beat when the champions get better.
Yeah, and especially I think the biggest story of this offseason is the Klay
Thompson.
Klay Thompson. I couldn't speak there. Klay Thompson's injury. We saw with the Warriors drafting James Wiseman, and we didn't know if what's his face was going to get traded. My goodness, Jesus. Andrew Wiggins, we didn't know if he was going to be put on the move or not. But now, since Klay Thompson got injured and is not going to be able to play this season, you're going to look like he's going to be getting a lot of minutes and a lot of attention. And the Warriors were supposed to be that team to beat. I thought that with Klay Thompson in their lineup, they could have gave the Lakers a extremely, extremely tough out in the Western Conference. But when you look at the overall Western Conference, the Nuggets have played very good and they're going to be a contender. But I think the Portland Trail Blazers have made a pretty good offseason as well. They're going to be a pretty tough team, even though they were the 8th seed coming into the playoffs this last year. I think they're going to be a very big contender in the Western Conference. But other than that, like you said, the Brooklyn Nets, they need to make sure that everything goes well with their team. If they do or don't get James Harden, and Kevin Durant has to be the superstar he always been. Like you said, this is a Lakers team that has improved much from their championship last season. Tough out.
One quick point. The West is always a very top-heavy team, but with guys like James Harden wanted out of town, a potential Russell Westbrook leaving the Rockets as well, you have teams like the Thunder who have not looked as dominant or as even on paper as good in the past. You have the Clippers who kind of are just like there. They're a very good team, but not really. You have a team in the Golden State Warriors who they're not as dominant as they were. They have their own share of injuries. And you have a guy in LeBron James who not only won last season with the Lakers, this is a guy who has only missed the finals once, and I can't tell you what, once in 9 years. I mean, there's such a high chance that this guy is going to at least return back to the finals. And the Lakers, they're a very good team. They have obviously LeBron James, Anthony Davis. It's the easiest sport to repeat in. And I think that If LeBron gets you there, they're just going to do it again. And it's up to the East to sort of build a team to sort of go against LeBron James, whether that be James Harden going to the Nets, but I do see that LeBron James winning.
Next question here we get from Osei Bonsu, noted Lakers fan, big Colts fan of the podcast. He says, are you guys ready to stop betting against the Colts? Osei, rewind the tape. We picked them. Me and Pablo both picked them. Dan's not ready yet. Maybe he'll come around next week. But
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, it would be a very good win for them to beat the Titans, and I would give you a lot of credit, Osei, and I would give the Colts organization a lot of credit to win this division if they were to be able to beat the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, so I think most of us have proven we're ready to stop betting against them. We'll see if we prove Dan wrong. Next question here comes from Kevin Green. He says that Anthony Davis may wait to re-sign with the Lakers so he can see how Giannis handles his contract. Do you guys think Giannis would want to go form a super team with AD and LeBron?
I don't think so. I think Giannis is a very competitive type, and I mean, there are reports that he's thinking about leaving, and how could you have to look at all your options here. I think Anthony Davis will sign before we figure out what's going the hell on with Giannis Antetokounmpo. But I think his best option would be to stay in Milwaukee. They're a few pieces away. Let's be honest. You saw they win, I think, 67 games last year, being the 1 seed. Yes, they did choke against the Miami Heat and put on a terrible performance all playoff series long against them. But that's a great team, and they're just a few pieces away. They have the right components. They have a great front office, great staff and coaching staff that they have. Giannis became a superstar there. I think he could put them over the top eventually once LeBron James is out of this league. I think his best option would be to stay with the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm not a big fan of guys being on the team and just seeing, you know what, I can't do it by myself. I'm gonna go join a already stacked super team. I don't like that. I lost all my respect for Kevin Durant when he did that. There was no reason why he had to go and join the Golden State Warriors. I thought with him and Russell Westbrook on the Thunder, they had a very good chance to beat the Warriors. But, once you cripple your team, especially being out there in the West, and you go to another super team, it's just not fair and it's very cheesy. So I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I do think it would be a weak move from Giannis to go join probably the second and third best players in the whole NBA to go play. So I do hope that this does not happen. But if I'm the Lakers, of course, I'm trying to make it happen. So I hope Giannis doesn't go the weak route when he certainly has a chance to be the best player in the league and usher in a new era of the NBA.
Wait, just real quick, you said second and third best?
Behind Giannis.
Oh, wow. All right. Interesting.
Let's go to the next question here. It's from PK Patel. He says, should Jalen Hurts start over Carson Wentz against the Seahawks?
Now, Jalen Hurts is not ready to take on this role of, where do the Eagles how do they get better with Jalen Hurts at quarterback? Yeah, it might mix a few things up. Jalen, I have a lot of faith in. I think he's too young to lead a team like this Philadelphia Eagles team that is so bad. I think this is just give it to Carson Wentz for the rest of the season, see if he can pull it out and try to make a playoff run here. Jalen Hurts is not ready for this terrible Eagles team right now.
Yeah, I think you save Jalen Hurts. Do not put him in that situation. Let him continue to grow. Maybe next year take over halfway through the year or even to start the year. But this week against the Seahawks, one of the best teams in the NFC, don't do it to him. Don't do it to the kid. Next question comes from the Made in the 90s podcast. They want to know, do you think the Ravens can rebound and save their season?
Yeah, I've been saying for the past couple of weeks, this Baltimore Ravens team is on the downward spiral, and especially losing a heartbreaking loss against Tennessee last week, and now you're going against the undefeated Steelers. You lose this week, it's looking pretty bad for you guys. And if they can't pull off a miracle here in Pittsburgh on Thanksgiving, this season might be completely lost for them.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Dan. This team, they're not looking too well, and if they don't start putting up some wins and start showing some sort of life, their season's gonna be over before you know it.
I think that they can rebound. I think I don't know if it's gonna happen this week, but I think they can eventually. They're just too good of a quarterback to just really be down in the dumps that long. So I think they can rebound, but in a stacked AFC, I don't know if they'll be in time enough to make the playoffs. Final question of the show, Dan Rodriguez. He wants to know, with no clear front runner, who do you got to come out of the NFC to go to the Super Bowl?
Whew. I mean, there is no. He is not wrong about that. There is no clear front runner. We've seen the ups and downs of every team that has been good in the NFC. You see the Seahawks; they have their ups. We say, hey, this is Russell Wilson's year, and then they have terrible weeks. I mean, granted, they won last week, or 2 weeks ago. Sorry. It is a big crapshoot, and right now, how could you not pick the Los Angeles Rams? I know D-Rod's probably going to hate to hear that because we saw one of the most boring Super Bowls ever when they were in it, but they're hot at the right time. This defense is amazing, and finally, Sean McVay is getting Jared Goff in good positions. These wide receivers have been eating. You look at Cooper Kupp's performance last night, having, I think, 11 receptions for 145 yards. He's unstoppable, one of the most underrated receivers in this league. They have been playing very well. Cam Akers getting a little more usage, which is good. They have a bunch of running backs. I guess I got to pick the Rams. I mean, they are the best team right now in the NFC.
If I had to pick one team out of the NFC right now, I'm going with the New Orleans Saints. I think they've proven with that defense they can beat anybody. They've won 7 straight games. They're the hottest team in the league. Taysom Hill looks decent. Drew Brees didn't look that great, but I think he's going to do enough to help them win. I really do think we could be headed for a rematch in the NFC Championship game between the Saints and the Rams, that infamous blown call to send the Rams to the Super Bowl. I know the Saints would love to get their revenge. So right now, put me on the spot. I'm picking the Rams to go, the Saints to go to the Super Bowl, with the Rams as a close second there. That's all our questions for this episode of Before the Score. That's all we got for this episode of Before the Score. Wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Hope you all enjoy it. Stay safe. Thank you for listening to episode 41. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, every other streaming platform. And we'll see you next week.